and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for tuning in from all over the world. Welcome to the Stubbs Show Unplugged. I'm your host tonight, Mr. Unregulated, and welcome to the kickoff of our exclusive interviews with the many black male community leaders of the DC metropolitan area. Over the next few weeks, I will be talking openly and honestly with black male community leaders about the many topics and issues which are at hand in our black communities. The title of this series will be Where Did We Go Wrong? You can find the full complete episodes on YouTube under the Leap of Faith Network. My first guest tonight is Mr. Ronald Moten. Mr. Moten is a father, son, brother, and leader. Mr. Moten is a successful author, is the successful author of Drinking Muddy Water. Mr. Moten is a professional community organizer and advocate for the citizens of Washington, D.C. and beyond. Co-founder and COO of the Peaceaholics from 2004 to 2009. Mr. Moten is responsible for 160 former gang members attending college. He is also responsible for the employment and training of over 360 people previously considered unemployable by the experts. I'd like to welcome Mr. Moten, and I'd like to welcome all of you all who are tuning in to the Stubbs Show Unplugged.
That's me.
Thank you for taking the time out to speak with me, Mr. Moten.
Thanks for coming.
What went wrong? Let's talk about the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and now. Our communities are broken. Our people seem to not understand the importance of coming together and supporting black movements. We have lost our family values, lost respect for one another. We have lost the history of those who came before us. I'm talking about the army of black folk, the civil rights movement, those who demanded justice and equality. What went wrong? Many blame media and entertainment, mind control, and public perception. Mr. Moten, in your opinion, from the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and to now, where did we go wrong?
So there are a couple of things. When you talk about black people or Asiatic people in general, you got to think about how we got here in this country and how we got here and we came and our culture and our history and knowledge itself was stripped from us. And then you have to fast forward to the 80s when crack was put in our community. Before crack was put in our community, not long before crack was put in our community, 73% of the African American families had a mother and family in the household. After the crack epidemic, it's under 20% now. Yeah. And you can't build family and institutions without marriage. And because we've had children, like for instance somebody like myself, who's had children and never been married, and not with the parents, the women that I had the children with. Not that I'm not a good father, but it's nothing like a mother and father raising a child together and building a family institution. And those children see the same thing, because what happens is we become playmates instead of building institutions and families. So that's one of the things that happen. And then when you start talking about the media and entertainment, it's funny you say that. I'll give you a story about BET. It was a lawyer that represented me and has always helped me by the name of Johnny Bonds. And we call him the people's lawyer because he's always fighting with the people. And when BET was first started, he worked with Bob Johnson and some other people who was part of the team that got BET. And he walked away from it because it wasn't supposed to be called Black Entertainment TV. It was supposed to be called Black Education TV. And it was supposed to educate our people, right? And not be something that what you see now as a form of entertainment, and it's not elevating our people as it should. So, you know, we don't control none of these entities anymore. We don't control our food. We don't control who makes the music. We don't control the movie. We don't control anything. So people can control our narrative in the way we think. And then when you start talking about leadership, our leadership, it's been sad to say that most black men are scared to stand up when it's adversity, and we are scared of the risk that comes with it.
So let me just interrupt you, because I think this is a very important part of what you just said. Black men being scared to stand up. Are they scared to stand up because they may lose their job, because they may lose a source of income, because they may risk catching a misdemeanor, going to jail? What are they afraid of? I mean, because it takes sacrifices and some risk to actually make a movement work. And
it's a lot of things, but how can you get a man to stand up if he don't know what it is to be a man? If a brother's raised in a household and he raised with a woman, and there was no man there to teach him how to be a man, like if you're in this community right here, in Anacostia, historic Anacostia, 91% of the 15 to 17-year-olds are raised in single-parent households. That means 91% of our boys that are 15 to 17 years old are being raised either by a mother normally, a grandparent, an aunt, and sometimes a father. So that's what you have going on. So how can a man be a man if he has no examples of a man? And he's mad at a man when a man comes and tries to teach him how to be a man. So these are some of the things that you deal with in our community. There are some great men out here doing great things. But there are consequences. And I'm going to give you some of the consequences. I understand why some people walk away and say, I'm not risking everything I got. Normally, when you stand up for your people, a lot of times your people leave you hanging. When you stand up for your people, just think about it. Malcolm's did, King is did. Look what they did to Marcus Garvey. I mean, everybody who takes a stand, that comes with a consequence. So if you're not savvy enough to make some things happen without always being out front, normally you're going to pay a price. And everybody's not willing to pay the price. I know what it feels like to pay a price, to stand up for your people. I know what it's like to tell people who are evil and mean well who they are and not be afraid of the consequences. And a lot of times you got to go with faith and just know a lot of times the people who help you are not going to be the people you expect to help you. A lot of times the people who help you are not even going to look like you. Sometimes not even talk like you. But if you put that divine wisdom and energy into the universe, it often comes back, but it doesn't come back the way you expect it or when you expect it. And most people are not willing to make that sacrifice. The other thing what went wrong is that our children also knew, right from wrong. And in the 60s, when the movement was going on, it wasn't that King and them had the adults even then, even when we did have a mother and father in the house. So a lot of people were scared to lose their car. They were scared to lose their job. They were scared they were going to get killed. And throughout history, any time there has been a real movement, it's always been the children and young people involved. And in 1963, when Martin Luther King went to prison and nobody would follow him, it was 6,300 children that went to prison. It was organized by one of my mentors, Reverend James Bevel, who actually ended segregation. And that's why what's going on is so dangerous. When you have our young people who listen to all this music, and every time they look at TV, somebody's being killed. And every time they play a song, it's either about a gun, getting high. I mean, every song is talking about popping pills, Percocets, weed, this and that, right?
Degrading our women.
Degrading our women, or the women degrading themselves. You ain't got to degrade the women no more. They call themselves bitches now. So, so it works. And degrading the men, right? You got all these divisive forces and destructive forces going on at the same time, at a time where our children are not being educated in the schools the way they should, at a time where, the world is getting better for some people, but for other people it's getting worse. At a time where it's easier for a person to get a gun than it is to get real knowledge of self. So all these things are happening simultaneously, and then you wonder why all these things are happening.
know, when you were talking about the our young black men that are in homes without their fathers. Now I know you had the organization, the Peaceaholics.
Yes.
Is there anything like that now that can help these young kids get jobs, get off the street, a place? You know, I've actually been in your facility when you had the Peaceaholics.
Right.
You know, with the computers everywhere. Is there a place right now where these kids can go and get mentorship, where they can come in and talk to somebody, or they can say, man, look, we got a beef with Stanton Road, and I don't want nothing to do with it, but you know, I got to be a part of the peer pressure of picking a gun up and riding around Stanton Road or whatever other neighborhood, you know, and acting out violence. So I mean, is there an organization that's putting a dent into the violence on the streets and in our public schools, like the Peaceaholics?
Well, under the Peaceaholics, it was something that probably would never happen again, unless it comes from the community. We had 2 mayors that invested and believed in the community. Anthony Williams, his last 2 years, and Mayor Fenty. And what they did was they let returned citizens and people who people normally wouldn't support do what happened in every time in human history and throughout the Bible, right? God always used people who were once part of the problem to be a part of the solution.
Right.
So that's all the Peaceaholics was. It was people who cared, who had came back and redeemed themselves, who wanted a second chance, and being used. Like if you get bit by a snake, the antidote comes from what? The snake. It was the same exact thing, right? And just the accountability, holding those people accountable who were doing the work. And you know, you got people doing it today, but they're just starting to get the support again that we were getting. And I don't know if you would give a group $3 million to have 60 employees. You know what I'm saying? Because you can have some good, you know, shocks, and you can have like some good pistons, but all it takes is not having your belts running right. And that good engine ain't running right. I don't care if it's a V6, V8, V12, it don't make a difference.
Right.
So a lot of times you got people all over the place doing good things, but they're not working together. And we were able to pull a lot of things together. And we also taught the people who work for us it wasn't a job, it was a ministry. Like when you work with young people who are hurt that they're willing to do anything, you got to have God and have a spirit in you that doesn't fear anything, because they can pick up on it. It's like a dog. And we understood that hurt people, and heal people. So we went out and we helped heal people and heal families, right? And then we could change them, and then they would change people in their community.
You know, what you said, it runs returning citizens being part of the solution.
Right.
You know, I look at the things that are going on today. I look at the rec centers. I look at different types of jobs that may deal with the youth or community programs. There are actually policies put in place. In order to get this funding, you can't hire someone with a felony. Or, you know, it's hard for ex-offenders to actually get back into the community and give back unless they're part of establishing something, or they're in somewhat of what you call the loop, where somebody knows you and knows that you have a good heart and that you're capable of giving back. Why is it so hard for the fathers, for the black men, to really go in, do their time, pay their debt to society, come home, and still have to pay another debt? I mean, is there something wrong with the system?
There's definitely something wrong with the system.
I mean, you know, not all people go in and get rehabilitated, but some do. And those who do get rehabilitated and come out with a positive mind frame and want to be a part of the solution, why is it so hard for us?
Well, you gotta understand the system. This is not a new system. This is the same system that was here 400 years ago. Some things have gotten better, but some things have gotten worse. I mean, when you can have a person hating themselves and they don't even realize that they hate themselves, then you don't even have to do anything to them sometimes. But as regards to returned citizens, we got to understand that the only way that we can get out of this situation is, first of all, we got to work together. The self-hate is so deep in D.C., where every time a brother or sister crawl out of a hole, you got another brother or sister trying to pull you back in the hole. Mm-hmm. So first of all, we got to be together. You know, this is one of the few places in the country where returned citizens can vote actually while they are in prison. In D.C., if you have a misdemeanor and you're in D.C. jail, you can actually vote. In D.C., you can have a murder charge come home tomorrow and you vote when you hit the bricks. There's not too many places in this country. It might not even be another place in a country like that. Most places, you have to be home for a certain amount of time and have to be cleared to vote and this and that. Then they have a lot of programs in D.C., MOCA, and a lot of other things. It's still hard because of the federal laws, where if you have a record, a landlord can hold it against you and not give you the lease, even if you have a good job. You know what I'm saying? Or you can't get in public housing, which we know public housing is set up to divide a family, because a woman can only get support if she doesn't have a man in the household. So it's totally designed to keep the man out. So if brother comes home from prison, his wife, his girl, his mother, whoever's in public housing, he can't go live there. So what is he forced to do? Go back to what? To the streets. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of things are designed for failure. That's why we have to be smart and advocate to change policies that affect us versus trying to do little minute things that really ain't going to change anything.
Right.
So those part of the problems. I mean, and then we got to teach brothers to be self-sufficient. You know, most brothers went to jail that I grew up with went to jail for trying to get money, and they're natural hustlers. So we have to change the narrative and teach these young people and older brothers and sisters how to take those same skills that they use and come home and use those to get ahead. And if we do that and we empower them and we get rid of this self-hate, then we can move forward as a people. But right now, we work so hard against each other that, yeah, I mean, it's just like, you know, I like Louis. I got a little Louis pouch on right here, but I support my black businesses. I support all people, but I definitely support black businesses.
Yeah, that's a real big thing in our communities. I mean, you know, it seems like we don't stand for nothing. And then when I look at this past election, and I looked at Ward 7 and I looked at Ward 8 compared to Ward 2 and 5, you know, the amount of people that came out to vote at 2 and 5 had double the amount that Ward 7 and 8 had to come out and vote. And I can't remember. I think it's 19,000 to 40, almost 40,000 in 2 and 5. But the thing is, people say that we want change. You know, we say we got your back, we for you. But when it comes time to actually put up, if Ward 8 and Ward 7 turn out 19,000, if they turned out 25,000, we may have different people in office right now. And you know, our people are angry. The youth have become disrespectful. Public perception controls the way we think and how we live. We spend billions of dollars annually supporting brands that give back little.
Like Sabiato?
I wasn't going to name Gucci. If any, towards the betterment of our communities. Mr. Moten, you have been a leader in our community for years. You have created jobs, ran for office, reduced violence in our city and our schools. Where do we go from here? How do we start to build more informed and family-valued communities?
Well, I think one of the things is educating people on how we got where we at. Like, I teach people all the time about self-hate. So this store that we in, this building that we in, you know, I started working with a gang that was called Check It. It was an LGBTQ gang. And a lot of people, when I initially started doing it, some people to this day, like, man, why are you working with those gay people? Why are you working with those faggots? You know what I'm saying? And I'm the type of person, I'm going to help people no matter who they are. Gay, straight, whatever. If you're a good person or you somebody trying to uplift yourself, I'm going to help you, right? And it was funny, like, I had dudes walk past, man, oh, that's that gay stuff. I was like, wow. So I said, I asked him, I said, you like Gucci, right? He's like, yeah. So you like Louis Vuitton? Yeah. You like Ralph? You like Versace? Yeah. I said, so you don't have a problem with them? Nah. Oh, do you know every last one of them was gay? So we'll buy something from a gay white man, but we got a problem buying something from a gay black man. And it's not that you hate gay people, because you wouldn't wear Versace, you wouldn't wear Louis, you wouldn't wear Gucci if you really hated them that much. It's just that we always looking for an excuse of why we shouldn't support a black person. And that comes from the self-hatred that we have as a people. And sometimes you got to sit people down and take the time to explain to them the way they're thinking is only self-hate, because they haven't even looked in the mirror before. Sometimes we all have to look in the mirror and check ourselves. So the way we do this is by talking to people and explaining to them, like, what they really doing, right? And what we really doing to each other. If we don't educate each other and we don't teach people the importance of working together, right? The importance of group operations, you know what I'm saying, of working together and supporting each other, then we're not going to change anything. And then the other thing is, we got to create good products and services. We can't expect people to support us if we're not, creating good products and services. Right. At the end of the day, I would love to support Black First, but if you give me some garbage, I'm going to go white. Because my money means something to me.
Work hard for your money.
You understand what I'm saying? So we also have to teach our people how to do right by the people who are trying to help them. A lot of times, you can go help somebody, but if they don't want to be saved, you can't save them.
I think you hitting on something right there. But also what I've thought about is not so much as everybody people being angry, but people not understanding. Like, if the kids were to come up, like I strongly believe the DC public schools and the Maryland school, the curriculum needs to be changed. They need more history, and they need more financial literacy. Yeah, because if we understood how it works, like when you spend your $20 at the store with the Koreans at the Korean store, how much of that money comes back into your community? If you spend your money at Check It, how much of your money comes back into the community? So I don't think our people understand that we just give our money away. We just give it away with no meaning, and we give it away because of entertainment and media. The entertainment section, we watch videos. We want our pants hanging off our butts. We want the Gucci belts. We want the Prada shoes and so on. And we spend so much money on this stuff, but there's educating our people on the return, or what the return will look like if we just did it, and we just supported, black, a black company. Like, you look at Salviato. I mean, I've never had anything Salviato. A T-shirt costs $300-400. I can't afford it.
But and I'm not going to put it all on the people. There's a lot of it, the system, and also fighting, teaching people how to fight for. Like, DC has a $14 billion budget.
14.5.
And with over $14 billion budget, over $1 billion, if not more, I believe, is supposed to go to local small businesses. Alright? And most people are not even set up to go and acquire that money. Right? So we have to teach people where the money at, hold the government accountable because it's your money, and make sure that we get our share.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we don't do that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times younger and older people don't know where the money is. They don't know how to get it. Like, I could have got government jobs. I could have did a lot of things, but I refuse to be a slave. So I'll go get it the hard way. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we give back here. Like, we've done shows all summer, free food, free entertainment, all type of things that we do for the community. Now, has the community returned the favor like that? No. But we keep on pushing. And I teach my young people that I work with, you got to put good things out in the universe and eventually it'll come back. And there have been people to help us. We didn't have Republicans. As a matter of fact, Republicans have given us more money than any Democratic organization. That's why I tell people, don't let nobody tell you who to deal with. Just deal with good people. I don't care whether they're Democrats, Republicans, black, white, Latino, deal with good people. You know what I'm saying? Love your own, but just know the key is dealing with good people. And a lot of times, we don't deal with good people, and we keep on doing the same things, and we expect a different result.
And when you talk about good people, I believe there's good in most people, if not all people. So I want to jump back to the LBGTQ. Check It. The name Check It comes from a game that was originated in Washington D.C. Correct?
Trinidad, yeah.
So now your work is working with that community, the LGBTQ community.
So I work with Check It, and anybody who's willing to support them.
Okay.
So, and I work with other youth too. I just don't work with the LGBTQ community.
Okay.
It's just that working with Check It has turned into an entity which has allowed work with LGBTQ youth. But not only that, we have other people who rent space. The Center for Black Equity rents office space out of here. National Association of Advancement of Returned Citizens does work out of here. Has focus groups and support groups for returned citizens, clothes drives, all type of things in here. And we have Damon Ministries in here who also work with gay and straight individuals with a food bank and also HIV testing and different things, services like that. So it grew from that into this. But I work with everybody. But the LGBTQ community, a lot of people from that community help me when nobody else would help me. They didn't ask me to sleep with them. They didn't ask me to do anything. But they were just good people.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't get caught up on none of that. You know, and it's funny, by me working with Check It, it seems like some of the people throw the biggest stones at the LGBT community, they be the ones creeping in the back door with them. So, like, a lot of times you hear people yelling out, like, sometimes watch because they the ones that really creeping, claiming they heterosexuals, but really messing with them. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen that. But with me, I don't let nobody change who I am, but I don't try to change who somebody else is.
Right. So and the reason I brought that up is because when you talk about people turning their back, people frowning up, and people saying this and saying that about that the community. I mean, I look at it like this: you cannot deny that there's not someone in your family that has not done crack, that has not been a part of a community other than what you believe or what you are a part of. So people are different. You have to, and those people demand the respect that they should get. You know, those are our brothers, those are our sisters. They're people. So regardless of what they promote, what they're a part of, you have to see these people as people, our loved ones. I didn't see that. My producer is flashing flashcards. We are live, y'all. So, okay, we have a viewer question. Let me read the viewer's question. No, I don't have my glasses on. Mr. Mo, you want to read that?
Okay. We need to literally less depend on enemy factions to heal, feed, clothe, and finance us. There was a time where all resources of this type came from us. Now times have reversed.
Did we get the question?
It wasn't. It was actually just
it was a comment.
Well, that's
but
true.
The thing only says questions.
Thank you for the comment.
That's true. You got to think about Black Wall Street, Tulsa, and all the other times like when we had our own. That has happened, but most of the time they've been destroyed. Mm-hmm. And then, like in D.C., I remember a time where every store on every corner was owned by a black person in the 70s. All right? I'm telling my age now.
Yeah, that's a little bit before my time. I'll be 28 in a couple of weeks.
So in the 70s, in D.C., as a little boy, I used to see every store being owned by black people. So I was proud, and we knew to support our stores, just like everybody else support their communities. And what happened was, like, you had the Florida Avenue Market and places like that. A lot of the people who did the wholesaling were black. People brought them out. The Asians came in and other people came in and took over the wholesaling. And then what happened was, so say like this store right here, we right in the middle of MLK, right? And on the 1900 block, Chinese store goes in that corner, Chinese store goes on that corner. I'm the wholesaler. I sell to you cheaper than I sell to the black person. So every product that you buy, whether it's hair, whether it's candy, whatever, it's 10 cents cheaper than the corner store in the middle. The store in the middle, which is black. Our people didn't understand the importance of still supporting their own, so all the black stores went out of business.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So that was the important lesson. Like, you got to produce your own. You got to wholesale your own. You got to go and get things from Africa, get things from other countries, and do all these things where you're controlling your narrative. But when you getting everything that you get is depending on what you get from somebody else, and they control the price, they control the deals, they control everything. You're not important enough, and you're not doing anything. Then you're putting your whole future, right, in other people's hands, and then we sit around and cry. You know what I'm saying? So we got to educate ourselves off of what we did with Black Wall Street. You know, like look, if you come to Anacostia, there's no area in this city that has more black businesses within the 3-block radius. Nowhere. But how many people come and support it that are black? Like they should. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And when the store goes out of business, they be like, oh, I remember when such and such was right there. I remember they used to fry that fish on Fridays, and they used to have the Go-Go's in the back, and Marcus Johnson in the back, and they used to do the fashion shows downstairs, and they would give people clothes, but they gone now. But why they gone? Because you wouldn't support them. You know? And that's what we do. So we got to do a better job of supporting our own, and supporting good people who support us, whether they black or not. Like, I support people who support me. It don't matter what color you are. But I know that I'm obligated to support my people.
Right. And you know, supporting our people is so important, because not only should we support our people and our communities, but we should look at what they've done and build on top of what they're building. Because when you look at the employment ratio and all of our people that are out of work, and we're out of work for reasons. We're out of work because we don't have the skill level to compete for certain jobs, or we got that DC number that won't allow us to get different jobs. So I mean, you know, this is a time now where we have to start creating our own. We have to come together and support each other and continue to build on top of what we already have, or the situation is just going to get worse. And you mentioned the DC budget, $14.5 billion a year, and I'm still trying to. And I took a close look at the DC budget, and I still can't figure out, you know, why is so much money going this direction, this direction. We talk about the Metro Transit getting $900 billion, almost $1 billion out of our budget. Why? Why are we paying them to run their stuff through our city, and they still collect fees? So I mean, there's just a lot of things that need to be explained to our community. Whereas though we need to educate ourselves on the process, how to grieve, you know, and how to protest, how to come together and make a change. And I think it all starts with our community programs within our neighborhoods, which absolutely need more funding and more resources to be effective. And we need to teach these kids, you know, how to do things the right way, and raise these kids up so that a change can one day come. Because right now we got people that come from out of our city, you know, from all over the world, running for office and controlling the city. You know, so the people from the city, raised in the city, born in the city, have very little say so in the city. And I think it's important that we raise up our kids to be. What can we do to start fixing our communities?
Well, there's a lot of things. This goes for me. One of the things, like I said, we had to build family and institution. There was a time where 73% of the households in our community had brothers and sisters who were married and they were working together to build family and institution. You can't build your own banking systems where everybody's separated. You can't run your own agriculture and farming if you don't have families and communities working together. You can't even build a community without families. You see what I'm saying? And how do you have grandmothers without families? So what I'm saying is the fabric that we had in our community has been shredded. So what we have to understand is what other people are doing and what works. And if you go to the Ethiopians who come and brought a whole community in Uptown Northwest, every time you look in the store, you see a wife, a husband. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, you're right.
Or you see all of that. So we got to go back to basics. One, and understand the importance of building family and institution. The second thing is we got to understand how to keep money in our community, right? And support each other within our community, and then supporting people who support us outside of our community, right? Our money just goes too freely to people who don't support us. And if we took better account of who doesn't support us, then guess what? They will bow down, because black people spend more money than anybody in the world.
Absolutely.
Right? And our money comes in and goes right out, and people depend on us for being uneducated fools. So if we start just doing those things alone and get rid of the self-hatred, like we did a thing with Bevel, we did this mock trial, And it was addressing the first murder known to homicide. You know what the first murder known to homicide was?
No.
It was Cain and Abel.
Oh, okay.
And it came from poor parenting, jealousy, and envy. The same exact things that are affecting our community today. Most of the murders that happen in our community happen because of jealousy, envy, and poor parenting. Same thing with Cain and Abel. So we don't address the issues that caused the first murder in our community, nothing going to change.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I would like to first thank my guest, Mr. Moulton, for being a part of the show.
Appreciate it.
Thank you all who tuned in tonight for watching the show. Again, you can get complete full episodes on YouTube or Facebook at the Stubbs Show. To get more information about Mr. Moulton, well, let Mr. Moulton give his contact information for the viewers if you want to contact Mr. Moulton to work with Mr. Moulton, to promote Mr. Moulton, or just to say hi to Mr. Moulton. I'm sure Mr. Moulton wouldn't mind picking up the phone and saying hi to you. Mr. Moulton, can you give me your contact information?
Sure. You can reach me on Twitter at Ronald Moulton, Moulton Speaks, Instagram Ronald Moulton, Facebook Ronald Moulton, and you can reach me also at www.contact@checkerenterprises.com. I'll get the message. They'll give it to me if a message comes through there. Or you can email me at ronaldmoulton@icloud.com. Or you can call the office here at 889-1532. 202-889-1532.
Alright, y'all make sure y'all support Checking Enterprises, 1920 Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue, Southeast Washington, D.C. If you all want to become a sponsor of the Stubbs Show Unplugged, if you want to have an interview done or promote your business, you can always go to the World of Faith at yahoo.com. You can also follow me on Instagram at Mr. Unregulated for you, and you can also follow me on Facebook. What's that? What's that new thing we got? Is it the Unplugged? Unplugged. Y'all plug. Look out for the Unplugged group on Facebook coming to you soon. Again, thank you, Mr. Moulton. I'd like to thank my technicians in the back, the studio audience. This is a Stubbs Show production. This is a DG production. Thank y'all. Without y'all, it couldn't be no me. We're gonna do this together. And please stay tuned for the next interview. Sometime in the middle of the week, we will be promoting the next interviewer, the next interview, and I'm being told that I got 2 seconds. So with that being said, peace.